All right, Algebra 1A students, welcome to your video on Lesson 3.3. In this video, we will also be solving inequalities. In our last video, we solved by adding or subtracting a number to both sides to get our variable by itself. In this video, we're going to actually do multiplication and division, and something is going to change just a little bit at the end. Okay? For the most part, again, this is a lot like what we did in Chapter 2 with equations, where we undo multiplication using division and we undo division using multiplication. Okay, just like we did in Chapter 2. For example, if we have the inequality x divided by 3 is less than negative 2 and we have to undo the dividing by 3, we undo dividing by 3 by multiplying by 3. So when I times both sides by 3, the 3's cancel out. Times the other side by 3 as well. And I'm just left with x on one side. My inequality sign is still less than, and negative 2 times 3 makes a negative 6. Okay, so I get x is less than negative 6. And then again, I can certainly graph this inequality without too much trouble. I am in the negative, so since the middle point will be negative 6, 1 up will be negative 5, 1 down will be negative 7. In this case, I do not have an equal to line, so I'll just put an open circle here at negative 6, and I want my x's less than that, so my arrow goes left. Less than means left. Okay? I've got one for you to try here, solving by multiplication to get a variable by itself. I'd like you to solve this. C divided by 8 is greater than 1/4. So get the C all by itself here, write that inequality, then graph the solutions. Once you have that done, come on back, unpause the video, and I'll show you what we should have. In this case, our inequality should say C is greater than 2, because 8 times 1/4 is 2. C is greater than 2. And when I graph this inequality, just make a number line, mark a 2, 1 up from that is 3, 1 down from that is 1. Here again, I do not have an equal to sign, equal to line, so I'll just put an open circle, and then C is greater than 2. Greater than means go to the right. Okay, greater than means go to the right. Now we can also divide. We can divide away a number that's attached to a variable to get the variable all by itself. For example, if I'm trying to solve the inequality 5n is greater than 25, sorry, let's do greater than or equal to 25. 5n is greater than or equal to 25. To get n by itself, I have to undo multiplying by 5, so I will divide both sides by 5, just like I used to do in Chapter 2. Divide both sides by 5, and I'm left with n is greater than 5. N is greater than 5. Or equal to, greater than or equal to 5. Oops, excuse me. Greater than or equal to 5. Greater than or equal to 5. Okay. And I can graph that inequality without too much trouble as well. Mark off my 5 on my number line. Go 1 up, that's 6. Go 1 down, that's 4. I now have an equal to, which means I'm going to make a closed dot here at 5. Closed dot. And then my n is greater than or equal to 5, so I'm going to go to the right. Greater than to the right. Okay? I got one for you to try here as well. 3x is less than 21. 3x is less than 21. Go ahead and pause the video, solve that inequality for x, then come on back after you graph it, and I'll show you what we should have. Okay, we should get x is less than 7. And if I want to graph that, just make a number line here. Mark off a 7 in the middle. 1 up would give me 8. 1 down would give me 6. And open circle because there's no equal to. X is less than going to the left. Okay, less than goes to the left. All right. Now, that is all exactly the same as we did in Chapter 2. Multiplying to get a variable alone, dividing to get a variable alone. All that's different is now we're graphing our inequalities when we solve, and our answers have inequality signs, not equal signs. Okay? However, there is something different that you have to write down in your notes. You absolutely have to write this down in your notes. Okay? Write this down in your notes, please. when we multiply or divide by a negative number, it is very, very important for us to flip the inequality sign, meaning make it go the other direction. Okay? What that looks like is this. If I have the inequality negative n divided by 3 is less than negative 1. Okay? Now in order to get the n by itself, I not only have to multiply by a 3, I have to multiply by a negative 3 because I don't want the negative sign on my n anymore. So I multiply this side by a negative 3, which cancels out the 3 and the negative sign. Then I have to multiply this side also by a negative 3. Okay? What I'm left with then is n, and the other side is negative 1 times negative 3, which gives me a positive 3. Okay? Now, this would not be correct if I said n is less than 3. That is incorrect. Because I just multiplied by a negative 3, a negative number, I have to flip that sign around and say n is greater than 3. Okay? N is greater than 3. Because I multiplied by a negative, I have to flip the inequality sign around. Okay? I have to do it. Please, please put that in your notes. If you don't do that, the answers will be wrong, your graphs will be wrong, and so on. When they ask me to graph this, no problem. Don't worry about checking it. We're not going to do that. But I will put 3. 1 up is 4. 1 down is 2. Open circle because there is no equal to sign. And n is greater than 3 now because I had to flip that sign around when I multiplied by a negative 3. So I go to the right. Okay? I'd like you to try the same thing with division here. Solve with division. I want you to find the solutions of negative 5 times x is greater than negative 10. And then graph those solutions as well. Okay? Solve this for x, get it by itself, write that inequality, and then graph. Once you have that done, come on back and I'll show you what we should have. All right, we should, after we flip the inequality sign, end up with x is less than 2. Okay? X must be less than 2. And then when I graph this, 2, 1 up is 3, 1 down is 1. Open circle again because there is no equal to sign. That should be more over the 2. Sorry about that. Over the 2. And then x is less than because I flipped my inequality sign because I divided by a negative 5 because of that negative 5 right there. When I cancel that out, I have to flip the sign. Okay? If you have questions about solving inequalities with multiplication or division, including with this extra piece at the end here, please make a note to ask me in class tomorrow. Otherwise, that's all I have for you. Have a wonderful night.